Well, people have been talking about voter fraud for decades, and yet they have not been able to come up with any hard evidence of any substantial amounts of voter fraud. In-person voter fraud involves somebody going in order to change one vote, they're risking going to jail for 5 years or incurring a $10,000 fine. So that's kind of a dumb thing to do, and that's why you don't see people doing it. We've been conducting some form of mail-in voting literally since the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln started this because he didn't want soldiers to have to come home from war in order to vote. So really, in-person voter fraud is just has happened in an infinitesimal number of times. Mail-in fraud, maybe a scooch higher, but really scattered instances over decades of voting with billions of votes cast. If you talk to people in the civil rights community, they will tell you sometimes this talk of voter fraud is really an excuse to try and limit the franchise in ways that have a disproportionate impact on people of color.
A lot of people, my opinion, and based on proof, that try and get in illegally and actually vote illegally. So we just want to let them know that there will be prosecutions at the highest level.
And that is just really disturbing, given the history in this country of slavery and Jim Crow laws. This is something that we really need to leave behind us.
The idea that there's widespread voter fraud is simply unsupported by any evidence.
The votes come in, they have no idea, they can't count them. And I don't mean they're off by a little bit. They're off by 20%, 25%. There's fraud, there's missing ballots.
We just had the Trump administration's FBI director confirm that in sworn testimony before a U.S. Senate committee hearing, in which he said we don't have this problem.
Now, we have not seen historically any kind of coordinated national voter fraud effort in a major election, whether it's by mail or otherwise.
President Trump, after an election in which he won in the Electoral College, right, in 2016, he was the winner. He still says 3 to 5 million illegal ballots were cast against him. This is absolutely ludicrous, and everyone should have understood that.
The comment that he made was, he said 3 to 5 million people, could have voted illegally, based on the studies that he's seen.
But the association that represents the state officials who run elections told CBS News, "We are not aware of any evidence that supports the voter fraud claims made by President Trump."
He needs to disclose why he believes that. I don't believe that. It is the most inappropriate thing for the president to say without proof.
It's conspiracy, it's propaganda, it's very deliberate. It's a very deliberate effort to divide people and to make it a blood sport and to make it like it's going to be the end of the earth, end of the world.
Make sure you have your license out.
Claims about voter fraud have been made from time to time. They arise when there has been legislation or efforts to make it easier for people to vote. It's part of partisan politics in the United States. It is fundamentally racist ideas are put out there. It's very much tied to the idea that Black people, poor people, immigrants who are citizens are going to defraud other people of their right to vote by cheating. And it resonates with people because of racist stereotypes about people of color, frankly.
It's going to be the greatest fraud in the history of elections.
We shouldn't be discouraging people from voting. We shouldn't be raising false narratives about how some people are trying to defraud the election. We should just be doing everything we can to get more people out to vote so that we will have a more representative democracy.